All right, we have a thumbs up. So we are Facebook Live for our work session. This is our work session in preparation for our first meeting in October. And notably, this is Ms. Harden's last work session with us. She's retiring. She will be gone as of the 10th of the month. But we will have her for this work session, and then we will have her for one more board meeting. So we want to thank her again for her service, and keep taking notes. So, also, we'll just for fun, we have a birthday. The very attractive picture on the back wall there. Steen McMullen, he was hiding around the corner there, has a birthday this weekend. So there's a little celebration going on earlier today. So we wish him a happy birthday. And then I also got news last night, which I shared with some folks. I've shared with the board, certainly. But I got a text last night from Thomas Stewart, who is our architect on the Needmore Center and on other buildings, McKee Park as well. But he texted me to say that the Needmore Center was honored with 2 AIA Design Awards last night. It is one of only 8 projects in the state to be honored, and received both a Merit Award and the Samuel Maccabee Spirit of Architecture Award. So we have an award-winning structure in the city, and I think the Needmore Center is a remarkable community structure, and also serves that area very nicely. I think it makes us proud. So I wanted to give him, and he was the architect, so I want to give him props on that as well. And then Mr. Kemper, he's not here yet. We have energy workshops coming up. I will talk about those at the board meeting, but I did want to highlight that they're coming up, and we'll give more information at that point in time. And our work session is Chief Ballard, and I've got the heading on here, presentation by Chief Ballard of his Rotary program, which he's made a liar out of me because he's created it as a Board of Aldermen presentation. But he gave such an excellent Rotary presentation that I thought it was worth bringing to the Board of Aldermen, because I thought it was very informative, and it also was, it was just very informative and very supportive of the police department. I think it highlights the things that they do for us. So I thought it was worth bringing to the Board of Aldermen, and now he has turned it into a Board of Aldermen presentation. So, Chief, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate it. Good morning to all. As with Rotary, this is obviously a very important moment and opportunity to do a presentation on what transpires with our police department. I think most of you are very aware of our social media outreach, and we put a lot of community value in that, our community outreach, to try to bridge with our community and knowing who the officers are. But this presentation is about performance and understanding that the support and leadership that the mayor, the vice mayor, and each of you as board members give for us, how that training transitions into performance on the street. And at the end of the day, that's what matters. And so how do we handle these performances? How do we do these pressures? And Vice Mayor, come around you here. The calls for service, I think, are always astounding. Even when you're in it, you're shocked as to the numbers. Between 2015 and 2019, we dealt with around about 20,000, sometimes 17,000 back and forth on calls for service. 2020 was got off COVID, different things, a lot of fear out there, right? And then you see in 2024, it's 30,000. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, if you were to add in security details, where we get these calls, requests to go into neighborhoods, that number jumps up to 43,000. That's 119 contacts with the public a day, being city representatives of your police department. 1,751 arrests in 2024. And out of that number, only 50 use of forces. So we're doing pretty good in de-escalation tactics. Many of these arrested individuals are emotional. They're under the influence of narcotics. They're drunk. So to be able to do that, have that limited number of use of force says that we are doing something right in our approaches and with our tactics. Also, I'm proud to say that because we have good investigative standards, we're continually being rewarded by our federal counterparts that want us to be a part of their task force and issuing out awards. This is an example here of Sergeant Jackson receiving one for the Secret Service for cyber investigation efforts. I'm very proud of some of the accomplishments we're doing on a whole new front of cyber crimes. And it's not going away, it's expanding, it's growing, and it's changing our profession where we've got to get very well aware of what's going on in the cyber world. This is a picture that I love, and Vice Mayor, that's lightning in a bottle back there. You can see the lightning strike that they call it. These are our horses. These are, they're very valuable. It's how we get back and forth, and the training that goes along with this is tremendous. These vehicles are well equipped, but they're only as good, and Mayor, I'll throw the accolades to you there, is only as good as the pilot that's driving.
Oh, thank you.
And so here's a little bit of our training and what we do in order to start the process to get ready. We're going to implement, you can hear sirens, radio traffic standard stuff. This is in Tupelo where we're doing some training. And Sergeant Gillen, she's not here. She's one of our driving instructors for the police academies originally. If they hit a cone, they're absolutely, they fail the course. So you'll see they're focused on curves, they're doing shuffle steering, they're looking at markers right here on the board, how to mark and where to mark. They learned that from race car driving, right? How you can do speeds and keep it pretty close. And this is helping prepare you for pursuit driving, right? And we averaged, last year we did 12 pursuits, but it's not always about pursuit driving. I think our insurance agents will tell you many times it's not the pursuit, it's just the basic driving. So you'll see our cars, we've gone out to Webster County here, and we've lined up a driving course using an older airport to be able to get in and around with the cones. We're doing a little bit of slower, precise back and forth of getting around, just basic familiarity every time they get into the car, where they, in a way, know their horse. And this is where it comes into play. I've got two videos for the ladies and gentlemen on the board. The first one here is a standard pursuit. I ask that you put yourself, you've seen a little bit of the training, you know the dangers that are out there. Now visualize the environmental conditions that you must take into play here. I gotta give credit to Corporal Dylan Pete. That was a pretty calm walk away. He's not emotional. It's almost like he expected that to happen, where the individual said not today. And so he'll go into the pursuit pattern. Again, he's thinking about a lot of conditions, the time of day, traffic, where they are. Vice Mayor is over here, road here. And because the time is so valuable, what we're going to do is you can see a shortened version of this. Yes, sir. You can see a short version as it catches up to the individual. It's going to broadcast. Now we're down the country road. Again, this is at night. You don't know why he's running. You don't know if he's armed. You don't know the conditions. Is he going to a place where he's already called for others to be waiting? These are very real conditions that our officers face. Notice he's probably foot pursuit here. So he's got all this information going on through his mind, and that's again where this training comes in. But he knows he's not going to approach that vehicle because he will give commands. Michael, were you able to turn up the volume at all? Got it? If he's not listening to the practice, what is he doing? Does he have a weapon? What's going on? These are all pretty fast second decision making there. Fortunately, with this one, the individual followed, arrest was able to be made, backup arrived. You'll see less lethal deployment. We'll talk about that in a minute. But situation handled without any issues there. Now this second one, again, conditions, environmental conditions. These are things that every agency should be training on. And with this one, I think it's pretty powerful for being nationally accredited, because without these policy and procedures, we wouldn't necessarily follow the links here. Our officers are not in charge of the pursuit. It's our supervisors. And sometimes our sirens are pretty loud. This is assisting with a pursuit. It's going out into the county. And then you'll see the sirens are pretty loud. And the vice mayor here, you'll see Mother Nature Shane's for you guys, who does everything that she can to help try to end the pursuit as well right here. And they stayed with it. You see they're calling up the room back there, so we have to get over it. But these conditions are dirt roads, right? Traffic, that you're dealing with crowds, not vehicles. Not something that you normally get into on the average store. If you expect it, when it happens, you got to be prepared. Now we're going into the city. Things have changed. Traffic is picked up. Conditions are better, but obviously we have a lot of traffic. Listen to the supervisor doing his part. This is going to take 20 doctors. He's monitored from a distance and tracking this pursuit. If you're in this pursuit now, start to pull out, there's far too many cars out here. He's going to get the indication as to why. He's going to say, gentlemen, which means attack.
Come back to your radio traffic. Be advised, we did have a big day into the vehicle already.
Echo 3 out into 1025, 12 and industrial, they're still east.
So he said we have J1 already, shut it down, officer confirmed, I am shutting it down, and stops. Doesn't drag along, doesn't carry on with the pursuit. Again, we've had a high number of 2022, 13, and 2023, 12, and 2024. So obviously there's a lot of councils on in here, the liability, they'll understand. So it's tremendously important. You have to do both. You have to be able to pursue, to do it in the right manner. And let's see. All right. This is one of our favorite parts. Public, come on up.
We're going to do it here.
We're going to do it here. Well, we're just kidding. We're not good like. I wish all
I got excited for a second.
You do. So Corporal Huffman is one of our instructors, taser instructors. I would call him our master instructor. And so the taser is an important tool for us. It keeps us from doing physical contact with individuals. And go ahead and dry stun and let them hear it.
Right, so if I wanted to drive stun somebody, I can take this, make skin to taser contact, pull the trigger, and you get that running through your body.
And from the old days of the stun gun, Mayor, it used to be 1,500 volts. This is close to 50,000. The bigger the muscle, the more the impact it drives. So you're going to get an arching effect the more muscular that you are. So obviously training with this, all of our officers will have some type of less lethal. I could go all day on the others, but the taser is very, very important. So again, how the training will show real world application. This is, if you want to be, this is probably going to hurt my recruiting a little bit, but if you want to be a Starkville police officer and carry a taser, you have to be certified. So what you'll see here is, don't be distracted by Corporal Huffman's legs there. You're going to see identification information to get them restarted. Listen to the pop when you use the approach.
Starkville Police Department.
That's why you call it taser.
And you're
all the other officers that are about to deploy it, so they don't think it's a good one. And our 4 code officers, they go through it too. And they get to feel the full body.
That's how I would be.
Morale is important. And watch Connor. He's just enjoying that. And I've told some of the board members, Mayor, they're not allowed to have tasers. We're not going to deploy them or anything like that. So this is Reserve Officer Jason Baker. Our reserve officers have to do the same type of training. This is also Dr. Jason Baker, who teaches percussion out at Mississippi State, twice a citizen. And so we could not do it without our reserves. And this is going to be a real world application in the district where you're going to see a fight take place, potential of injury, workman's comp, all of that, where the taser is going to be correctly deployed. See the screen on this side? Nice and smooth.
Hey, possible application.
Recording mounted. Wi-Fi disconnected. Recording mounted. Wi-Fi disconnected.
Police department, stop fighting! Police department, stop fighting! You need tased! You need tased! Taser, taser, taser! No call. Taser deployed. Stay down! Stay down!
It's a 3-second, 5-second shot. So he gets over it.
Back off.
Back off. He gets off the ground.
Back off. Back off. You back off.
He was already down on the ground, so it wasn't like this is some of the crowd that was like the room. So we get cleared. I think we got a secondary fire over here. Again, the taser changes the guy in the trenches to carry. Definitely is a game changer to be able to do that. All right, this is something recent. I have spoken in depth with the mayor on this, on our need in crowd management. You saw a little bit of a fight that took place several months ago. This is just going to be a updated one, and while we're advocating for the tools necessary to be able to better manage crowd, we consider the district obviously an entertainment area where we have a huge economic impact. To be able to provide safety is going to be very important. In this particular one, it's a little harder to see, and I apologize, but it's just recent from this weekend. You're going to see a fight transpire, and then you're going to see officers take off running to the fight, and you'll see a couple of the suspects. One will smooth walk, and one will jump the fence and head south. And so if you look at the crowd, the number of officers managing, and a reminder, it's beyond just the district. It's several streets that we're trying to do. Steve, your partner Mark, I think you'll what is his birthday guy? He's not here.
He's hiding.
You'll see Mark, the fire chief, you'll be proud of your fireman. He's running off. He didn't get in the fight, but he's running to give some directions on traffic. So you look, hold up, my apologies. My apologies. How do I get this?
Okay.
All right, speed it up just a little bit.
About halfway.
Right up in here. Here we go. So you'll see the fight transpire. They're going at it right now, right? And you'll see the crowd start to go. Officer awareness start to come across the radio. What's happening to our zones? Everybody's collapsing, going into one spot. We have to because of our numbers. And you'll see a suspect come down, jump, and go. The main one fighting will jump and go south in the confusion. That's a lot of crowd to manage. That's hard to get in there and find out who is doing what. And it's great that you got video cameras, but the identification later of just foot traffic is very hard to do. Having a drone up, coverage, we're tracking that individual when he runs. And again, I say this, and he's here close to me, but the Vice Mayor and I joke all the time about apprehension and accountability. And but it's not a joke. If you're able to apprehend an individual when they commit something like that, word gets out pretty fast when they do it again. And so that's why we're kind of advocating.
What time of night was that?
This would have been probably closer to the midnight hour. Yes, sir.
I think it was just at 12, like 12:15.
Okay, 12:15. So another thing that we get to do to our employees, this is anytime anybody wants to participate, we do Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. The reason why tactics change, evolution changes, our ability to be able to take an individual safely to the ground matters. So with that, we've gone to get some really good Brandon will take over and play for me so I don't mess it up again. This is a little bit of an open clip, but again, our office is going to stand with no spikes straight to the ground. And you need to be able to act precisely, not emotional, but calm and rational.
He's a strong dude. He is. That was quick.
This is Jarvis getting on the board. Jarvis is a good fighter, but he's no match to Jamie Houston, who is got his arm now. Takes total control of it. Again, a safe takedown. And while this takes to the next, all right, go ahead and hit play. And then I'm going to ask you to pause it for a second as we go. This is in front of the Catholic Church. And again, what transpires on a Sunday morning is far different than what you go earlier Sunday mornings. After the district lets out, many times fights transpire. And Alderman Vaughn, we have a policy that if an individual has a shirt off in a fight call, that might be the problem, right? And so here we go. We're going to see standard officers show up, and we have an individual with the shirt off, and Officer English quickly determines who might be the individual fighting. So he pulls him to the side, and so with that, Brandon, go ahead and hit pause. So there's going to be a lot going on here. First of all, he's going to break up the fight. He's going to give the directives for people to leave. All right, go ahead and hit play. And then you're going to see what we call our student breakdown. And when the lettering goes up, Brandon, just go ahead and hit pause on the video. So many times when we break up fights, again, individuals are drunk. They might be under some type of narcotic effect. And so with this, we've determined, we've gotten really good at determining student ideology. So right here, you have your accountants and engineers. And again, personality profile.
I wish Sandra was here.
The officer just gave directives of leave the area, get out of there. Your accountants and engineer majors understand policy, procedures, attention to detail. They know to follow the rules. It's very important to follow the rules, and so they're doing it. In the back end there, you get political science, where their job is to test the system, to be able to demonstrate individual willpower and challenging there. And then you've got a psychology major. He's going to have a tremendous amount of emotional intelligence. And ladies and gentlemen of the board, you're going to have a criminology major. And you don't have to be a student to be a criminology major. In fact, they are on almost every scene that we go to, just to make sure that the police are doing what the police should do correctly. So go ahead and hit play. So you'll see the accountants and engineers understand the how to be able to get out of there and have no more drama and enjoy the rest of the evening. Local science will do what local science do. They will obviously get into a little bit of debate right here in front of the police. And this is going to take you to the Brazilian effect. You'll see criminology majors going to get up to psychology. They're going to talk about a situation. More officers responding, and the fight breaks out. Boom, 1, 2, 3, and hit pause. All right, so at this point right here, you see jiu-jitsu is working. Suspects are down on the ground, no fighting, all that. Now we're going to demonstrate, if you can tell, right, the Vice Mayor has the best view. Vice Mayor, you see he was, go ahead and speed me up to that other point there. I keep hitting green and hitting the thing. Our psychology major is raising his hands, understanding the game is over, time is up, right? Again, that is the advantage of your training with your hand-to-hand. And that is something that is, our fights are sometimes common, unfortunately, out there. And so that is a little bit of action of how the training, our self-defense training applies to what we do in the real world. None of our units are better trained than Captain Davis's team, SWAT team, while the average officers in 90 to 100, they do 400 minimum hours of training. They have to be the top physical fitness, they have to be the top shooters, everything. It's not easy, and no disciplinary issues, nothing. They have to be very good at what they do, and as a result, there are lead instructors to a lot of our younger officers. Lieutenant Wilson's here. He controlled training for a long time, played a huge role in some of this development. I'm getting close to finishing up. Right here, we got a very tough scenario where these individuals are going into training with our federal counterparts on hostage rescue. There's a time in which you want to be nice, and there's a time where you can't be nice. And law enforcement is on its own when these events occur. So the training has to be there. This is a real world scenario, the speed and dynamics of a hostage situation where a murder-suicide based off a real world scenario took place. But listen to how fast it's over with in these conflicts. Go ahead and play. That was 3 rounds where it needed to be right from the beginning. And they're using city dishes and a little bit of a distraction, so success there on the mission. All right. Go ahead. So, unfortunately, what we've seen in the news has not been good in the last year or two, especially with a lot of violence and active shooter. This is a scenario here where one of our snipers had to bail from a vehicle and run and get up on the roof. He is training for an active shooter deployment to get on the roof and be able to do it. You will see him, they got the ladder there to prevent workman's comp issues. They do have a rope. But you'll see him sprint. Go ahead and play. You'll see him sprint. Again, this is in North Mississippi here, I believe, with training range, training house that they have. He'll get on target. He's got less than 40 seconds to run the obstacle, get on the roof, and hit a shot 350 yards accurate. And when we talk about accurate, we're talking about the circle size right here. He's got to control breathing and get the shot. Right here is what he's you heard it get the target. So really good job by Rail. All right. When we first did this presentation, I think the mayor and alderman, Warren Moreland were in there, and I used a statistic from January 1st to July 31st, 104 officers have been shot in the United States. Since that time, I just updated, that number is now 250, Mayor. So the training that is necessary to win when violence is out there is very important. We put our individuals, this is our own range here, look at the debris, the loud, we're going to do it in slow motion of environmental conditions. Go ahead and hit play. Then draw a straight leg and shoot through the windshield on target. You can see the debris. You can imagine how loud that is to be in that atmosphere. Right? And then this is going to be real world application, how fast it truly is. So this is a breakdown, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Board, of our training and how important it is into our real world applications. And so again, in closure, I just wanted to say I'm very appreciative of the opportunity to show how hard we work and what we do to be able to have success in our operations. And I thank each and every one of you for your support for public safety. You've been very astounded with it. You've been very straightforward with it. And as a police chief, I'm very blessed with that. So with that being said, are there any questions about what we covered?
Any questions of the chief?
Yes,
Vice
sir,
Mayor?
Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor. Chief, let me take this moment to say, every second of your presentation was exceptional. You are doing a very exceptional job. You demonstrate in your entire body of work what a leader is all about. And that's what this world is like. You always have a professional staff that perform their work based on my observations with class, honor, dignity, and integrity. It is my opinion that you are exemplary in your work, including the recent creation of the task force, which is a message and signal to not only Starkville, to Hall County, not only to the Golden Triangle, but to the state of Mississippi and the world, that we are not going to build a crime here. And I want to commend your staff and your entourage, your team, and all of those involved for their immaculate work. We certainly have clear and convincing evidence from you that your department needs to be a complete priority over anything else at all times, including providing you with all of the tools, the resources, the staff, and the funding for you to combat crime. We need to ensure that you have the cameras. You don't need to cut it. You have the cameras because you are very genuine in your work, and you are certainly highly qualified, given your exemplary performance of your work. And I'm certainly glad that the honorable mayor of this city allowed you to, because when it came to us to present the members and my esteemed colleague of this board with this opportunity to see it firsthand as opposed to looking at the newspaper. So thank you for that. And as I watched this with great intensity, Chief, your staff certainly demonstrated their burning desire to be in the position that they are in, including the reserve officers. I've even seen some of the reserve officers, in situations and locations that happened where the matter happened, that you wasn't aware of, how they come in and just perform and do everything that's required. We're just very pleased to have you here. And every second of your moment here, of your presentation here was well worth it. This is what we need more of. And as you well know, Chief, we have at least 50,000 more people in our city every day, including our residents at Mississippi State University.
Yes, sir.
And when we keep this city safe, more people come, it promotes economic development, it promotes business growth, it allows parents, grandparents, nieces, aunts, uncles, and nephews know that Mississippi State, Starkville, through our campus, a place to be. And I'm taking this time because it's necessary. This is old school, great leadership, and you are to be applauded. And we rarely see this kind of leadership. Since I've been on the board in 1993, over 32 years. We need more of this. We need more of this type of leadership in the staff. And when we are professional, it lets the world know that this is a body of people, employees who know how to get it done. So in closing, I just wanted to say all that because you need to hear that. And you get plenty of people who want to complain about nothing. But you do a great job, and I'm going to share my colleagues, and I'll speak for them. But we need to continue to support you, give you the tools, the resources, whatever you ask for. That's the priority. That's what I said a few weeks ago. We need to give you cameras, not cut the cameras. You're doing all you can, and all this high technology, you bring it to the boardroom, Chief. You cannot go to a movie theater and see it that clear. I'm just really impressed. Mayor, thank you for your leadership and allowing me. This is important to us. We're some governing body. We need to know what goes on. We need to see these things. They need. The mayor has a very standing request, very humble, very professional. Great class, what I'm about to say. You just please, ma'am. Whenever this type of presentation is available, just bring it to us so we can see it. We need to see this. We need to know what's going on. And I just want to thank you for doing this, and thank everyone here for taking the time to hear this from the chief. I look at all the staff people, they came here. These are professional people. And they're here. We saw all this body of work. That tells us that we're safe. In other words, when people often going to jump from 7, 3, and 1, and 5, when they come to this town, as old people say, they come here and show out. Because you're going to get in trouble. But we have the tools and resources to deal with the chief. Job well done. Continue to keep it excellent work, and we appreciate your superior leadership. And we cannot ask for anything more. Thank you again. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I think that's very thorough and well said, and I think it echoes all the feelings of the board members who are both here and not here, as well as the citizens of Starkville. I had a conversation this morning. We have a monthly meeting with Dr. Keenum and President of the Board of Supervisors, and one of the things we were talking about this morning is what a wonderful trajectory our community is on. The sale of the hospital is a critical piece of who we are and how we make offerings for economic development purposes. And the public schools are now A-rated, and the project that's going between the university and the city of Starkville, or the school district, for that. So that's a feather in our cap. And then the other two legs of the stool that make us a good place to be, that make people want to be here, is our public safety, which is exactly what the chief brings to the table here. And I think we're all very proud of the work that he does through accreditation and through the the various and sundry forward-thinking things that you look at. And then the other thing is our infrastructure. So two of those four belong to the city and our responsibility, and I think the chief highlights that in a very impressive way, and I was very impressed by his Rotary presentation. I know Alderman Moore and I both were, and so I wanted to make sure it came to the board, and I will certainly bring others that are informative and impressive to us as well, because I think that the board needs to hear and deserves to see those, and the chief needs to be recognized for, he and his staff, for all the things that they do. So thank you, Chief. I appreciate the presentation. All right, having said that, let's go to our actual agenda for the meeting, our first meeting in October. We start with 3 sets of minutes, Mr. Huskisson. Those are all ready to go. Ms. Harden, your last sets of minutes there? You're going to do the ones for the 7th?
Yes.
All right. Well, in that case, we'll have one more set, but consent for those? All right. Thank you. Then we'll have some employee introductions and then Lifesaver Awards. Chief Davis is going to be making presentations that we'll be recognizing. And then energy workshops. And when I looked around for Mr. Kemp, I forgot he is at a 7 states meeting, so he is not here for that reason, and I apologize for that. But the energy workshops will be something we'll talk about and highlight. We'll have citizens' comments, as we always do. And then we'll have our first public hearing on the adoption of the non-consensual predatory towing ordinance. And there is, in full disclosure, there is apparently an MSU Parents Facebook page that is getting a whole lot of traction out there. And from it, I am getting a number of emails from people who have had experience with this particular issue. So I have not included those emails because I actually only recently received them. I have not included them, but I will, when we take this up again, which will be our next board meeting on the 21st, I will bring those in so that they'll be a part of the packet. But between now and then, this is our opportunity to listen to the public in other ways, which would be as a part of the public hearing. So we will be doing that, and I have every expectation that we'll be hearing from some folks based on what I'm hearing outside. So yes.
Do you want me to send the ones that I've received that nobody's been copied to you as well?
Yeah, that'd be fine. We'll just
Okay.
gather them together. Okay, that'll work. And any others that if y'all individually receive some, we can make those a part of the board packet for the record. So, and then we've got one item that's a 21-1911 that's located at 310 North Long Street. And we will see about getting that one looked at from a public hearing standpoint and determining the status of it based on the presentation that will be made on Tuesday. So, and the mayor has no business on this agenda. I'm so excited. I don't have a thing going on. So, but the board does. So we have several appointments. We have 3 different bodies that are in need of appointments. We have the reappointment of Georgia Lindley. There were no other requests or letters of interest, so if we could do consent for that one. And then we have the Housing Authority. We have 3. There are 2 appointments to be made. We have 3 applicants. So we have got letters for one, and the other one is Ms. Ware, and I think she's going to plan to be at the meeting. So it's not at a point where we can put it on consent unless the board has, well, it would be a little awkward. So we'll just leave that one off consent and work on that one on Tuesday. Then we have a Mr. Kirby Mills. There's a position that Russ Rogers has been in with the airport board for a number of years. He is withdrawing from that, and Mr. Kirby Mills has put in a letter of interest, and that's the only one we've received. So if that could go on consent, that would be helpful. Thank you. And then we have consideration of denying a request to amend the approved infrastructure plans of Park Grove. Mr. Stuart Rutledge has asked for some modifications to that original plan, and Alderman Vaughn is very concerned. It's in his ward, and so he's very concerned about them making those changes. So he has supported the language that says we would consider the denial of the request. So you want to put that on consent?
Yes, ma'am, but I'll let Cody speak for anything else.
Mr.
Sure, I'll give an overview. So a part of the approved infrastructure plans for the subdivision included a lot that was platted as an HOA common space. It's dedicated to the HOA, and as a part of that lot, it showed several amenities. It showed a concrete walking path, a volleyball facility, and a gazebo. That's what the plans say. And from our standpoint, the staff standpoint, the infrastructure plans are our contract with development. This is what we have signed, this is what they have signed, and this is what we agreed to do. Opinion is that if somebody wants to remove substantial items from that plan, that needs to be a board decision. This is not technical, it's not life safety, this is removal of amenities that were on an approved set of plans. So I think if that is the request, the board needs to have the decision making in that. So that's why it's before you today. I'm happy to answer any questions.
In the plan, after you go look at the plan, he said something about the plan is ugly, but you architected the plan, just the plan you presented before the board. And so you just in the middle of the game, you want to change the plan? And that's why I wanted to deny for it, because I don't think it's fair. In other words, he tried to save money. He said how much money he in the hole. I got to do with that. Just the plan that you presented before us, and that's what we're looking for.
Okay, all right, well, that's,
Board, if you all agree with me, I appreciate it if you deny it.
well, we can certainly.
And I do want to ask a question
Sure,
about
of
this.
course.
Cody, and if you, I'm sure you do know off the top of your head, that's a silly question, but did they receive any variances based off of this site plan? Like, upon completion, like, was anything in there where they didn't have to?
There's none that I'm aware of. They did request a couple of variances. There was a request early on to remove some steel from the curb and gutter. There was another variance, I believe, for how far the roadway base extends behind the curb and gutter. They asked to have those requirements alleviated for financial reasons, and we denied that request at a staff level, and it wasn't brought before the board because they agreed.
Okay.
Anything else? Good. We'll consent for that. All right. Under airport, we have, okay, this is very exciting. Mr. Lincoln is here, and he's very happy. But we have gotten that grant, that $956,000 grant for the airport, which is wonderful. Now, Rodney, you're going to have the details certainly better than I am. It's about a $2.1 million project. The other funding comes from MDOT. There are a couple of MDOT grants. And so what the city and the other partners, that would be the county and MSU, are roughly in this $2.1 million project for is about $50,000, $51,000 or so, which is quite a nice investment. But this is the emergency hangar where the helicopter would be based. So this is really very exciting. It's ramp space, it's a hangar, it's a helicopter pad, and some parking. Is that correct?
And overnight quarters too.
And some interior overnight quarters. So it's a really nice investment for us. So we're very thankful to the governor because he approved this request. That's a part of the ARC. It requires that the governor approve it. So we're very, very grateful for all of that. So consent for that one?
Consent.
Okay. And then we have a final plat approval. Mr. Haviland, would you come to us just a brief on this, please, sir?
Yes, this is just the first step in the whole process for the redevelopment of all the property that's south of University, east of Colonel Muldrow, north of Russell, that the foundation and the university are engaged with. This is just kind of cleaning up some of the property lines. You're going to see this other items that are related to this on the next several agenda. There's a rezoning, a special exception, there's a whole bunch of stuff coming up. But it's just all part of this massive development project.
Okay, and there was nothing controversial about any of this?
Not at all. It's just moving some property lines based on who owns what.
Okay, all right. Consent for that one? Okay. And then under engineering, Mr. Burnett, you still up? We got a change order for the Lampkin Mig Street.
Yes, ma'am. This, to remind the board, this is the project at Meggs down in Lampkin. This was a request for an ADA complaint where the utility poles blocked the sidewalks. We constructed the sidewalk to make it ADA compliant. The southern end, we noticed, had some additional improvements that were needed for the ADA compliance. This pays for those and closes out the project.
Okay, can we get consent for that one?
Consent.
Okay. And then we have the public infrastructure at Portico. They have done everything they needed to do with the streets.
They have. This includes all infrastructure of the Portico subdivision, streets, curb and gutter, water, sewer, sidewalks. We have inspected those from day one to the termination of the project. They have completed the punch list and tested accordingly, and they have provided a warranty bond for 1 year, which is a requirement of the code. So they have met their obligations, and we feel good that it's a well-built subdivision, and we're ready to maintain it.
Okay, consent for that one? All right. Then under finance administration, we'll skip past claims. We have a municipal compliance questionnaire. Ms. Harden, do you have me living in the proper place?
I do. I moved you yesterday.
Oh, okay, thank you. This is just a box checking event, so consent for this one. Lowest and best bids for the source of supply, again, another box checking kind of requirement. Consent for that one. Title 6, non-discrimination agreement, also another requirement for our MDOT agreements.
For grant eligibility, we have to be
Yes.
on record.
Consent for that one? All right. And then an agreement with Tyler, this is is this an annual one, or is this?
It will be annual.
It will be annual? Okay, all right. Consent for that one? All righty. Then under the fire department, Fire Marshal Mark McCurdy needs to keep his continuing education hours, and that certification is down in Orange Beach, Alabama. So consent for that one? Okay. HR, we've got hirings. All of these, with the exception of the last item on the agenda, is replacement positions. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Can we do consent for those? All righty. And then the last one that's on the agenda is a disciplinary action. Any discomfort with going with consent for that one?
Consent.
Okay. Thank you. IT, we've got yearly renewal, of fiber network professional services agreement. Typical.
Yes, ma'am. We've used this vendor for several years for fiber projects. We're keeping them particularly busy during the infrastructure improvements on Main Street and the 182 corridor, and in preparation for the intersection signal project. So,
Okay, all right.
well
Consent.
utilized.
Consent for that one, all right. And then yearly renewal with our VoIP telephone support. Consent
Yes,
for that
ma'am.
one? Okay. And then the purchase of the 5 police cameras. There we go. So we have, and this is in our new budget. So, all right, consent for that one? All righty. And, and some of those, by the way, just as point of notice, I believe 3 of them are replacement cameras?
That's right. We are going to replace, we've been, deploying these cameras now for a while, and so we do have some that are starting to show their age and do need to be replaced and upgraded. So some of these will be earmarked for those, 3 of those, like the mayor mentioned. The rest will be new deployments.
Okay. And I think we just need to keep in mind that these all do have a life, and so we're going to have to replace them. And I'm assuming we have a life schedule of some kind out there for how many we'll need to be replacing
Yes,
over the
ma'am,
coming
we
years.
do. We have a
Okay.
spreadsheet, and we're keeping up with the age of those and the performance as well.
Sure.
Out of curiosity, how long do they normally last on average? I know some will last longer than
Typically
others.
5 or 6 years, and the first ones we deployed have been about 6 years ago. We do have the random lightning strike and things like that you can't account for, but we've seen a pretty good lifespan out of these.
All right, thank you. All right, under police, we have a 100% reimbursable Homeland Security grant for police emergency equipment. Where is he? There he is. All right, consent for that one. And then this is, okay, I want to make note of this because the chief's presentation was a wonderful segue into it. So what he mentioned about the Cotton District and being able to watch the activities at night, in this case, this is a drone, which was not in the budget. And I realize we're in our first month, our first meeting of our first month of the new budget. But we have a contingency line item, and for highlighting purposes, this is what a contingency line item ends up being used for. So this is gonna, we've got how much in the contingency line item? 120,000 or so. So this is gonna take 23,273 out of that 120. So we've already nibbled away at it, and we're not even into our first budget. So, yes.
Is the grant item in item A not tied to item B?
No,
Okay.
it's separate and distinct, right?
It's separate and distinct, and we're not allowed to, you can't put in for drones and grants.
Okay.
And I think the chief, while that's true now, I'm guessing as this kind of technology becomes more and more popular and more usable and user-friendly to the extent that it is going to help every municipality. I feel sure that eventually drones will become a part of that, but for now, unfortunately, they are not. But I would suggest that we put this, that we recognize his need for this. Again, I hate that it comes not even into the budget year, but it also highlights for us the importance of a contingency line item. So I would suggest consent for this one. Okay? Thank you. Under the sanitation department, we're advertising for bids for 3,000 rolls of garbage bags. Mr. Smiley, anything you want to add to that? I believe we've been very good about recording the garbage bags, so we're not having any use and abuse in the sense that nobody's out there stealing them because of the methodology that we're doing this now. So I think it's been very successful. Would you agree with that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And you have people coming in every day or at least every week to get some?
We still have a steady flow,
Steady?
pretty much daily.
Okay. All right, and this is in the budget, so consent for that. All right, utilities.
Mayor, we do have Edward dialed in.
Oh, do you? All right, there he is. I see his face on the little circle there. All right, so, Mr. Kemp, is there anything you want to share about the things that are items that are on this agenda? You want us to just...
Good morning, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Board. I'm happy to answer any questions. Most of these are just routine operational items and purchases.
Okay, so we have low quotes for motor rehab. We have a sole source quote for meters. And we have sole source quote for license renewal. Neil Schaefer is a consultant for the Curry Street water tank. Hemp Hill Construction low quote for an influent lift station. Low quote from Bill Young for Academy Well electric butterfly valves, whatever those are. A change order for a price increase for additional days for the sludge removal. And then the sole source quote for Magnolia Pump for additional repairs on the influent pump, and then last but not least, a change order for a price decrease. What a pleasant surprise.
And I do have a question about that.
I'm sorry, I'm sorry.
Speak on number 7.
Number 7, Edwards, a change order for the contract increase of 23 additional days for the sludge removal. That is, that's the work that's going on at the plant for the aeration. Edward, go
That's
ahead.
right.
We've determined that there was some additional sludge down at the very bottom that had to be removed, and so that was the reason for additional cost. It was not necessarily anticipated, but once they got into doing the work, they found that. Would that be accurate, Edward?
Yes, that's correct. And the board's already reviewed this initially. We did an initial estimate on time to do that, and so this 23 days reflects the actual effort on behalf of the contractor.
So this is a day request as opposed to a financial request because we've already done the financial request, is that correct?
Well, the days, it's so much cost per day, so we updated the cost and the number of days for the contract based on the actual effort required.
Okay, all right. Anything else?
I do have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
So Edward, on item number 5, it's got approval of low quote from Hemp Hill Construction Company, and the dollar amount on that is $57,950. And then on your item on number 9, you've got consideration of approval of a change order and a decrease of price for the same amount. Is that just a coincidence, or is it just swapped?
No, those projects are tied together, and that is an ARC project for our influent lift station. One of the requirements on the ARC funding is that everything is Buy America compliant. And when we went through the procurement of a specific component for the pump, the volute and stand, we were not able to find one that is BABA compliant. So the workaround that we were able to get to terms with MDA is we were just going to remove that from the scope of the project as part of the ARC project, and then we have we solicited quotes from local contractors to do that as non-participating work that we'll pay for directly out of our capital improvement funds that will not be grant eligible. So that's how we were able to get around that and not lose the overall grant itself.
Okay, thank you.
Any other, and I just went reading those, any issues with consenting those particular items on the agenda for utilities? All right, well, that takes us to the end. Thank you, Mr. Kemp. I appreciate you being on the Zoom call for
Sure.
us. That takes us to the end of the agenda. Anything, Vice Mayor, did I see?
No, I just want to say a smile for the ladies.
Oh, okay, all right. If there's nothing else, then we will call it a day. Thank you, everyone, for the work session. And Mr. Pocock, I hope you have a daughter here before too long.
We'll see what happens.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right.